Business Takeout presents The Healthy Entrepreneur with Maxine Choy.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Healthy Entrepreneur Show. My name is Maxine Choy, and I'm your host. And tonight we will be speaking with Hadriana Leo. I always say your name incorrect. I apologize. Hadriana is a finance coach, and you help women to manage finances and break free from financial challenges, build wealth unapologetically. And I love that because we're going to talk about that some more because we were talking backstage. But before we start, I'd like to say this show is brought to you by Business Takeout. Business Takeout is a nonprofit social enterprise. Their mission is to increase Black wealth, empower Black entrepreneurs. So if you would like to learn more about Business Takeout, please follow them on all platforms on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and where else?
Everywhere.
There's more. Everywhere, exactly. So we're going to start by diving right in. My name is Maxine Choy, like I said, and I'm your host. I'm a health coach, and I work with women just like you in helping them to do something that's going to help them to grow. And we're going to talk about what we talked about catalyst. You dubbed it a catalyst, as in like, what are we doing with our money? Like, how are we managing our money? And then how do we know we're doing the right thing? That type of thing, right? So the first question I want to ask you is, what is the connection between catalyst and money management?
Yes, indeed. Thanks for having me, Maxine. And for everyone behind the scenes, I'm so thrilled to be here. When I thought of coming on to the Healthy Entrepreneur, I thought, yeah, here we go, because I've always had this connection between managing your money and managing your health. So many synchronicities exist in these two spaces and how we approach them. So I was really, really thrilled when Maxine said yes. And I'm really happy to be here. Now,
I am so happy to have you. And sorry, I'm sure there's a delay, but I'm really happy to have you because before you begin, is because when it comes to living a fulfilled life, or even just a life that has a balance somewhat, it is very important that not only do we look out for our mental and physical and social health and spiritual, we also have to look at our finances, because that will determine how we go on about our days. It can make you depressed, it can make you happy, it can make you confused, anxious. There's so many emotions around that. So having you here is a blessing, because I cannot wait to hear what you have to say about this whole catalyst and money management. So what is the correlation between the connection, I should say, between catalyst and money management?
Yeah, so Catalyst is the name of a program that I have been doing for some time now, and I've put the name Catalyst on it because, first of all, I was a bit of a science geek when I was at school. So I loved science, I loved computers, I loved cars. I still love cars, fast cars. Okay, but we're not going to digress. If you go back to our days in the chem lab when we were at school, you would see certain, let's say, liquids. You'd have certain liquids in the dish, in the jar, and you would drop one drop of a certain something in there, and things start to happen. Kind of put in your mind, dropping the Mentos into the Coke bottle, and things happen. Absolutely. That is an example of what happens when you add a catalyst to something and something happens. That thing that you added into is no longer inert, it's no longer blah, it's no longer boring. The catalyst is the thing you put in, that ingredient that's added, that secret ingredient that's added that allows things to happen. And I chose the name Catalyst for this program specifically because a lot of us as women, we have so many preconceptions about money. We have a lot of language that we're using that we've probably been fed generationally, and we don't know where it's coming from, but we feel stuck. when it comes to our money. We feel as if we are not able to make that move. And Catalyst, that program, is specifically designed to be that drop, that thing that you're missing, that is really going to take your finances from just getting by to thriving and ultimately creating wealth. And that is a whole other conversation in and of itself. That's how Catalyst relates to a woman's financial journey.
I understand that now, because you have a program where it's called Catalyst, and it's something that you work with your clients to help them to navigate their money.
Yeah,
so I
absolutely.
like the term that you use. Yeah, I like that term and that you use, and I just thought maybe there was a connection between it. So you, when I asked you about like what it is that we want to drive to the audience at the end of the show, and I wrote down what you said because I think it's very important, especially the fact that what you do is you help to empower women to take control of their finances, is that you want women to be confident that they are in charge of their wealth and they can manage their money and not just paying the bills.
Yes.
And I wonder, because I wonder if it's like, does this come from a space of like having men being the one to take charge to handle the money, and we're so used to that? Or is it like, what made you decide to go this route to be helping women specifically?
You know what? I come from a traditional financial advisory experience. So in my prior life, I was the traditional financial advisor. I would be the one selling you stocks and talking to you about, filling out your paperwork for insurance and all of that. I did that and I loved it. I still love it to this day, which is part and parcel of the knowledge that I have. But one thing I noticed, and this is my experience, I'll throw this at you. As a financial advisor, managing literally millions of dollars, like our office had hundreds of millions of dollars in client assets under management. That's how much money we were advising. And I, Hadriana Leo, had to wait for my tax refund to clear off my credit cards. Right? I was racking up debt and I didn't have a plan to clear it off. I was doing all kinds. I was bouncing checks like I was on a basketball court, and I was a traditional financial advisor. What I learned from that, Maxine, a number of things, but I think primarily what I learned from that is, one, it's great when you know stuff. Oh yeah, I know this and I know that, and I know this and I know that, right? But what am I applying? What am I applying?
Yes.
Right?
So
and
you're
then how
so
is the financial world helping me as a woman? I don't care if my rate is higher than the next person. That doesn't drive me. It doesn't move me. It doesn't do much for me. And being able to retire, you're telling me to save today for 40 years down the road? I want to live now. I want to have vacation now. I need to go to the spa for a weekend now. Okay? Hello, right? So that is my experience that kind of helped me to understand the disconnect between knowing something and doing it, and realizing that the way financial services has traditionally been exercised and practiced just did not resonate with the female energy. It did not take into consideration the things that move us. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I love fast cars. That might be considered a very male energy. But there are things about me that are just not being considered when it comes to money. And that is why women are deferring to their male counterparts to manage wealth, not the money, because we still balance in the checkbook, no?
Right.
We're still the ones going to do the groceries, and we're the ones who have to figure out, okay, do I need to price match this week? Or do I need, or can I just buy whatever I want to? Or do I need to get what's on sale? We are managing the money, but we're not managing wealth. And we're not making wealth decisions, not confidently, because the wealth, the people sitting around the wealth table, they're not talking to us. And that's why I knew from my own situation and the situation of that the conversations coming from the women, when I started to listen, we need someone who can help us deal with finances confidently, competently, instead of trying to turn us into men. I don't care what Warren Buffett did. I don't care.
Oh, wow. So, so in essence, you're saying that women need to get more confident with knowing that they can create their own wealth without the help of a man. Is that what you mean?
You need to be able to rest assured that you can do it yourself. Absolutely, you can do it yourself.
Okay.
And in fact, not only can we do it ourselves, our male counterparts are desperately looking for what we need to bring to the table. So, and that's where I think that's where I'm a little different from some of the other money people out there. I'm not asking you to bash your man.
No, no, no.
I'm not asking you
No
to
male
bash
bashing.
your man. I'm not asking you to leave him or walk all over him. That's not what that is. I'm saying to all of us, every woman listening, that you are in charge of your wealth. You do not pass that buck to anyone else. Nobody takes that. You know, we live longer than our male counterparts. Whether you're married, common law, your brothers, your whatever, we live longer than them. And can you imagine how many people come to me after divorce? Just think that through. They get divorced and suddenly they're in charge of their financial decisions and they have no clue.
Yeah, that's, and that's very common because I think that it's in us to have the male look after the finances because most times they may make more money than you. Let's just say, not all the time. Oftentimes that is the case. And when you're married, you tend to just leave all of that to the husband. And I think that when, like you say, when the divorce happens and finances are separated, now it's time for women to take charge. And it can be very intimidating, right? No doubt. And and of course, and very frightening because the woman might be afraid of what to do and what direction to go in.
Yeah, and this is not the time. I always say when we're already dealing with so many emotions going through us, how we see ourselves, how we view ourselves. That's not the time when you want to be trying to figure out, okay, what is that mutual fund? What is it doing there? And why is it doing that thing over there in the corner? I spoke to somebody yesterday and she was saying to me, oh, I talked to my advisor and he says it's a tax-free savings account and it's locked in. I'm like, what do you mean it's locked in? A tax-free savings account can't be locked in unless you have it in something that locks it in. She's like, no, it's just a TFSA. We need to understand these things for ourselves.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
Before we talk about, TFSA and RSPs and all of that, we need to get to know who we are and how we relate to money. We have to be authentic in our financial experiences. So don't tell me you want the bag because it was on sale. You want the bag because you want the bag. It's a pretty color and it feels good when you rub your hand against it. Please, man, take what's you.
Yeah, that's so true.
Enjoy it. And when we can be honest about, I have a car that's stupid expensive. Why did I spend that much money on the car? Because I know for myself, it has to be a combination of it looks good and it can go fast. If I snap my finger, it needs to move. And that's a splurge for me, but it was a splurge I planned for. It was a splurge I anticipated. And it's a splurge that I can get back up from, right? But yeah.
So I have a question.
Go for it.
Sorry, you know what? And to add to your splurge, I think it's totally fine for women or man to splurge on something that they truly want, right? Because they say the more you pay, the better quality it is, right?
I don't
So,
know, but
yeah. Well, that sometimes, I mean, it doesn't mean if you
yeah,
buy a Honda, it will still work the same as a Mercedes. But the point of the matter is, you invest in something that you truly love, and you get a better
yes,
return on it, right?
absolutely.
Um, but you said something about when a woman is separated or divorced or whatever, and even just the fact that women are now afraid or not knowing what to do. And what do you think about women making more money than a man, or even being the breadwinner? Like, what do you think about that?
I don't think nothing about it. I think
Okay.
if you can go get it, go get it. If you don't make as much as him, you don't. It's we need to,
Hmm.
and I'm very happy you asked the question, Maxine, because we need to stop measuring value by dollar
Hmm.
figures. We need to
I love
stop
that.
thinking that because it is more numbers or more zeros behind it, that it has more value. Our conversations need to stop being about how expensive something is, and we need to start talking
Hmm.
about how much value is there in that thing for me, and understand that value is going to mean different things for different people. For me, I will spend money to save me time. I will spend it, I won't think about it. I will spend money to save me time. Other people, they will spend money to give them great quality. So instead of buying the vinyl, they'll buy the hardwood. That's your value system. And our value systems are very tightly intertwined with our experiences growing up, our experiences
Mm,
generationally, our experiences ethnically, all of these experiences that we unconsciously were planted into us. Different things like I remember hearing this a Jewish friend of mine who said that her grandfather never threw away the peels of potatoes because back in the day when they were suffering through the Holocaust, all they had to eat was the skins of potatoes. Me, I don't value a potato skin, but for this person, a potato skin is of immense value. Get out of the
mhm,
person's potato skin because they have
mhm.
their value system and you have yours. No judgments,
Yes,
no
yes. Hmm.
criticism. Honest and authentic conversations are what we need to get us through to creating wealth for ourselves.
Love it. Beautifully said. Um, let's talk about money shaming because you
Mm,
mentioned that in yeah, you mentioned that in an Instagram live, and I want to just share with the audience that it's it's when we are putting on a show with our money, like um, that you have nothing to prove to anyone that you
yep.
have money or you have this, um, or suffering silently, and afraid to tell people that you're suffering or you're struggling. So let's
Yeah.
talk about money shaming. Are you finding that a lot of women are going through that?
If I could open
Okay.
my eyes any bigger, they would pop right out because a lot of one of the biggest reasons women are not putting their hand up and saying help me is because we're dealing with shame when it comes to money. And
Hmm.
if you want to go
So,
back to the programming that we've had, people have been telling us all our lives that money is just black and white. 1 plus 1 is 2. Don't spend more than you make.
yes.
If it was that simple, brethren, we would have conquered money since kindergarten, right? If it was
Mm,
that simple. But traditionally, we forget, in fact, we were never told that every decision we make is an emotional one. And then we use
mhm,
logic to justify it. Why is it that we buy the
Absolutely.
expensive shoes knowing it has to go on the credit card and you don't know when you're going to be able to pay it? Because we're making emotional decisions and we're backing it up with
Hmm.
logic. But no one's telling us that.
Right.
So we now are ashamed and we say things like, I'm just not good with money. I must be under a
Oh,
spell, or I this money thing is just above me. I cannot get my head around it. Or can somebody just send me a man? Oh, right? So we have been programmed and we have to acknowledge that, because I think if we as women acknowledge that what we're going through is partially, and I'm saying partially, the result of generations of programming by society, we can cut
yes.
ourselves a little slack and say, you know what? I don't get this and I need help. It,
Hmm.
we need to. And
Well,
yes, we need to.
it's so funny because when I think of money shaming, I think of um, not being comfortable sharing your struggles with your friends. So you go
Mm,
out, I'll give an example. You go out and you're having dinner and maybe you're on a budget and it's a high price tag and you're just, charging when you know you can't afford it. So I think that you explained it right about justifying our purchases with logic, right?
yeah,
Um, but
definitely.
then
And we put on a show, right? We feel
so
that
how
we
do you
have to put on a show.
so then how do you so you help women with this? Like you help them with dealing with the money shaming
Oh,
and
absolutely.
absolutely. Okay.
Absolutely.
So you have
I'll just share this, Maxine. The beauty of the work that I do is in taking math and infusing it,
okay.
overlaying it, and rooting it in mindset. The two have to go
Yes.
together. The reason why budgets are not
Okay.
working for you is because we still don't know what the budget is supposed to create for you. What do you want more? The Starbucks
So
coffee
creating
or
a budget.
something
Yes.
else, right? I don't like budgets, by the way.
So
Let me just put
creating
that out there.
oh, okay. Because I was going to ask you about that because I know like budgets work for me
Yes.
to a certain level, to a certain
Yeah.
degree. Not necessarily because of course I will go over my budget, but I have it in my mind as to what I want to spend when I go some shopping, and
Right.
what my tolerance level, like where my cap is, right? Um, but when you work with women, do you what to what capacity do you help them? Do you help them on a grand scale in terms of like, okay, so we're going to buy a house, we're going to help you with your investments. Like, tell me a little bit about what you do with a client. If I walk in and I say, listen, Adriana, I have about $50,000 and I don't know what to do with it.
Oh, we can find beautiful things to do with it. So let me just be clear that I don't sell product. I am no longer selling mutual funds. I'm not selling stocks. I'm not selling insurance. My work is as a consultant. You get a professional to
Hmm.
bounce an idea off of. That's as a consultant. As a
Okay.
coach, in that we identify your goals and we create a plan
Mm.
to get you there. And I'm your cheerleader. I'm
Oh.
the one creating the tools. I'm pointing you in the direction of resources. I coach. And third, as a
Oh.
strategist. So, in my work with women as a strategist, that's when we start peeling back like, okay, listen, do you want to become a real estate investor? Do you want to create something that your children can take after you have gone your way? Do you want to be able to invest in other businesses, become a capitalist, become the shark in your neighborhood or for your community? Once we identify those, now we get the strategy in place and we create the strategy to make that
Oh.
happen. So I'm a consultant, I'm a coach, and I'm a strategist, and that's infused in the programs that I put together. That's infused in how I work with my clients. But we have to, every
Hmm.
program I do is rooted in math and mindset. Don't tell me how many people
Yes.
how many people have said to me, oh, I don't want to be a landlord, I don't want to be a real estate investor. And I'm like, there are like 6 7 other ways you can invest in real estate. So how do you mean Just not being a landlord says that you don't want to be a real estate investor. Have we explored? Because there's no denying real estate is a fantastic vehicle for wealth. But being a landlord is not the only game in town. Come on.
No,
That's
no.
where we need strategists. That's where we need somebody that can say, okay, this is a vehicle we want to explore. How can we make this authentic to you so you can be part of it too? Right? That's where we kind of need to stop looking at what everyone else is doing. Again, learning who you are.
Absolutely.
And let's see what we can do.
I really like that, because in essence, everybody, just like you need a health coach, you need a money coach. So, and if anybody's watching, if you need Hadriana's services, please reach out to her, because oftentimes we may think that we can maybe or cannot invest in something because it's so far out of our reach, and we don't know the risk, we don't know the details, right? So it's good to have somebody like you who can help to navigate us into a space of creating wealth. So I do like that. So you have this oh, you know what, before we end, there were some comments on there. I just want to read it real quick.
Sure.
Anne Marie says, I agree with you with Leo, that our value is not based on what we can accumulate. Absolutely, I do like that. That's so true. And the other one is still, people should be able to buy what they want as long as they're not doing it to fill place of emptiness and cover an emotional facade. Yeah, because oftentimes, and I'm going to say this, is that if you are the type of person that's looking at somebody else's life and their situation and all the accumulations that they're having, and every time you see them in a dress, a jewelry, whatever, you go out and buy that. So to Anne Marie's statement, it's so true. You have to be very careful because that is an emotional action. It could be based out of fear, jealousy, or whatever the case may be. So it's good to just stay in your lane, do what you can for yourself. And if it's something that you want, then sure, go ahead. But I think that could breed a lot of negative results in your financial health if you are on that path of just trying to fulfill that need because you want to be following somebody else, or you're looking at somebody's life and you're thinking, oh wow, they're wearing expensive clothing and expensive watches, but you don't know how they got that. You don't know, right? They could be shopping at a thrift store or hand-me-downs, or you know what I mean? So it's very important for women and men to make sure that you are very cognizant of where you're putting your money, and if it's coming out of a space of like an emptiness you're feeling or something that's missing, go to Hadriana because she's going to help you to navigate that. Donna Stevenson says, sorry, can you put that back up again? Good night, Maxine and guest. Thank you so much for watching.
Hi, Donna.
Hi, Donna. So, so you talked about embracing and creating wealth.
Yes.
And putting and just basically what are you finding now in terms of women creating their own wealth? Like, I don't know, like, is this happening now? Where, I mean, I know that there's a lot of successful women out there. There is. But are you finding that a lot of women are coming to you and saying, listen, you know what, I want to do this on my own. I don't want to depend on a man. I want to do this. Is that happening?
You know what? I know that it is happening. And I know that there are more and more women who are taking responsibility for their financial outcomes. And it's not so much that they are doing it without a man. A lot. So if I were to go back to a couple, I do couples as well. It's a whole different cup of tea.
Excellent.
But when I work with couples, 99.9% of the time, the conversation is initiated by the woman. It's not that the woman is saying, I want to do this by myself. It's not because they're saying, I'm tired of this man. That's not what it is. Women are
Oh no.
saying, I need help. That's what women are saying. I need help with my money. And regardless of the iteration, if you're your own queen, if you're married, if you common law, if you just have somebody scratching an itch for you, it doesn't matter. That's not what it's about. It's about women saying, finally, I need help.
Yes.
And they have one of two options. If a woman comes to me who is in a relationship and she comes to me alone, I give her one of two options. You can do this with your spouse, or you can do this on your own. Either way you do it, the buck still stops with you, because we cannot keep shuffling the blame to someone else. Our wealth outcomes are our responsibility. I worked with a woman one time, and she had come out of a relationship with a gambler, a man who would take their money and gamble it away. And you think to yourself, this woman is doing everything she can to save and put money away, and this man would gamble it off. You know what she did? She started siphoning money into places he didn't know, right? She took responsibility for the situation that she was in. And then we strategize, man. We strategize. I will never tell a woman to leave her husband. That's not my place. But whatever the circumstance you happen to be in, we need to strategize around every liability and make plans for our success. We have to. We cannot blame someone else. You know, the serenity prayer, help me to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Mwah, there it is. You can't change the man. Stop trying. Okay? It's not going to happen. Let us now move things around so our liability is no longer causing us big problems. We need to get strategic.
Wow. Okay, that was a lot, and that's interesting about the husband gambling, and because my grandmother said to me before a long time ago, she says, when you live with the devil, you plan your heaven. And what she meant was that when you're living with somebody who is either squandering money or taking advantage of you or not giving you the life that you want, you've got to plan your safe haven, right?
Yep.
And whether that be a financial plan or, maybe somewhere to go, because of the fact that when it comes down to the nitty gritty, we women, I think that we are much more vulnerable to suffering financial hardships than men.
Absolutely.
And I hope I'm not wrong in saying this. I just
Nope.
feel that way.
You are right.
Right. And yeah, and because of, back then men basically made more money than women. Now it's a little different, obviously. It's an open playing field now, right?
Yeah.
But I
I'll
think
stick
that
a pin in there, Maxine, and say to you that to this
sure.
day, women still make 80 cents for every dollar that a man makes. So
Interesting. You know, so with that said, it sounds to me that maybe a lot of women here watching, may have some concerns about money. Like, maybe they're receiving money from either child support or, spousal support. Maybe they've got some money that they don't know what to do with it, or maybe they want to be able to make some money, right? So I'm so happy that you are on this show, because I think that it'll help women to or men to come to you and just say, listen, you know what, I don't know what to do. I've got maybe $5,000. Let's just say I want to do something with it, right?
yep.
Or I'm afraid, or I'm struggling with how I manage my money, and I'm overspending. I'm buying emotionally, and I think it's very important for us to get honest with that, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of people I know who undercover are doing things that is only because they're in competition with somebody or something and putting themselves in deep financial debt. I never forget a time when I had a client who was struggling with with eating habits and sleeping and self-confidence. And it was all about the fact that she was struggling financially. And because of that, it was affecting her overall health and well-being. So
Right.
with that said, I would like to just encourage the listeners here to always be mindful. Take stock of where you are in your life, what you're doing on a daily basis. Are you being authentic? Are you being true to your own self? Are you watching your finances and making sure that you're not doing it out of, like you said, emotional because of emotional need or whatever. I do have one question to ask you. What advice would you give someone who's watching who is struggling financially? And let's just be specific, struggling in a way that they don't know how to save money. Let's just say, what
Yeah.
advice would you give them?
So not knowing how to save money is actually not a money problem. It's not
Mm,
having
okay.
something big enough or deep
To
enough or
to save.
meaningful enough to you to save for.
Oh my
It's
goodness, that is so
listen,
true.
I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, and I'm on a mission here. I'm on a mission to help
Hmm.
us make some authentic decisions and have some authentic
Hmm.
conversations about money. If you're struggling to save, trust me, it's not about how much money you have. We hear all these stories about moms who work 3 jobs to put their children to school. You know why they were able to save that money for university? Because an education for their children was meaningful enough
Yes,
that they made it a priority.
yes.
What do you want more? Don't get me wrong. I had to ask myself the same questions. I had to go through. My
Hmm.
husband looks at jobs and he makes money. My husband turned around 2 times and he rolling in dough, right? And I'm hustling as a financial advisor, trying to do things and not seeing it. I get it. I'm the one who wants things. I'm a hedonist. I love
Hmm.
experiences, and I would charge it. I get it. But when I was
Right.
able to hack my brain,
Mm.
that is when I was able to unlock my heart and bring emotional
Mm.
intelligence to my finances. That was where my breakthrough was.
Absolutely.
That's where my breakthrough came from. So if you happen to be someone who can just discipline yourself and save, good for you. Kudos to you. Keep on keeping on. If you are a woman who feels as if she says one thing about her money and she does something else, we need to talk. The answer is not in another spreadsheet. It's not in an envelope. It is not in an app on your phone. The answer is
No.
inside you. We just need to unlock it.
Oh,
And usually
definitely.
that does take some help.
Wow, I love that, and thank you so much for sharing that. And I hope that the audience who's watching did get something from this because I certainly did. And I want to thank you so much, Adriana, for coming on here. If anyone is watching and they would like to reach you, how can they reach you?
You can reach me. You can send me a DM. You can look for Hadriana Leo on any platform, or you can simply search Money Navigator. One word, Money Navigator, on all platforms. You can find me that way. I can invite you, everyone listening. I start with a complimentary wealth strategy call. No strings, and I'm serious. No
Hmm.
strings. My guarantee
Right,
is that it will be worth the conversation. Not everybody's ready for me.
right.
That's okay. But my place in the world is to leave everyone I come in touch with better than before they met me. So come and talk to me. No shame in this game, right? Ask for
Mm.
help. And if I can't help you, I can point you in the direction of someone who can. Let's stop suffering in silence. Let's go out there and build some wealth, man. Oh, the world is waiting for us.
Awesome. Awesome. I love the fact that you say if you can't help them, you'll find somebody else that can. And that's good. It means that you're
Absolutely.
very resourceful. So So if anyone is looking for any assistance, please reach out to her. And in the meantime, I want to thank the audience for watching and all the
Yes.
comments that came on. I think there were 2 of them we may have missed. We are running out of time. I will respond to your comments after the show. Thank you so much, everyone. Hadriana, thank you again.
Thank
Have
you.
yourself a wonderful night, everyone. Thank you. And stay well, everyone.
All righty. Bye.
If you enjoy our programming and want to help support Black entrepreneurship, please donate today. www.businesstakeout.com/donate.